Yeah. Atomic Clark loves those.
Good for men, women, children.
For husbands and wives. Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Sounds nice.
I really, it's high end, he says also, very high end. Not necessarily that the price is going to change your life, but it's very
Well,
nice.
see, that part's not gonna be-
Yeah. All right. Anyone who's here, by the way, I know it's a shtickle, it's more of a relaxed type of day. The fact you came, I thought that it'll be ready to be in pajamas, like a big mugs, like the slippers and the mugs, and done for the night. Fireplace. The mice that came out to learn. What? Right, I made it sound too good. I was like, but there should be a schutz for all of us to come together to learn.
I was almost considered we can't go, but he doesn't Manchester, New Jersey.
What?
When you register, there's a location, Manchester, New Jersey is on.
Oh yeah, Ron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the map.
Listen, see, Chav Gimel Amid Aleph by Asal Behema Doifim Asukah. Chav Gimel Amid Aleph 23. I would say halfway down the page. Asal Behema Doifim Asukah. I'm throwing in the words Tanur Rabbanon because it's a lot of people stick in that girsa. It's a brand new brisa. We're going to chazar it right now. But really, this chazar is important because for the whole flow of the Gemara and where we stop, you got to really be in the game for the Shakla V'Tari here. So the brisa starts off like this: Asal lebehema doifin l'sukkah. A guy made an animal as a wall for a sukkah. It's machlekes tanoim. Reb Meir paisel. Reb Meir says no good. Reb Yehuda machsher, and Yehuda says it is good. Reb Yehuda is the one that makes sense. We don't have a lot of rules about what the wall should be made of. You have to be a certain height, but there's no major rules about the material. So why can't an animal, I know it sounds funny, so why can't an animal be a wall? So in a way, Reb Yehuda makes a lot of sense. Reb Meir is really the one we're going to have to struggle to figure out what is the problem. So the Brisa says, Shahayu Rabbi Meir Aimer, this is what Reb Meir used to always say. He was very frequent about saying this. Kol davar sheish by ruach chaim, anything that is alive, that has life, a spirit of life. Ein oisid oisai, you cannot make it into a few things. Loy doifin l'sukkah, you cannot make it into a wall for a sukkah. V'loy lechi l'mava, you can't make it into a side post for an alley, to be able to carry in the alley. V'loy pasin leberois, you cannot make it for boards, for wells. We spoke about this, how that worked. V'loy goyla lekever, and you can't use it, you could use it, but it does not become a cover for a coffin. What that means, you become a cover for a coffin, it means you get the status of tumah that a coffin has, that a dead body has. It does not get that status. Okay? The main one we're focusing on now is the wall for the sukkah. He says if it's alive, it can't be a wall for a sukkah. We'll see if it's because it might die or because it might run away, but you're going to be left without a sukkah. So Reb Meir said, initially, this thing is possible. I don't want you to be left. Chazal came along and said, we don't want the type of sukkah that you're going to lose it on Yom Tov, and therefore it's possible in the first place, which is a chiddush. Because it's like, if it doesn't work out, I don't know, I'll figure something out. No, we don't want you to be in a matzah without having a sukkah, and therefore it's no good. So the Mishnah continues even more things you can't use a live animal for. Mishum Rabbi Yossi Aglili Amru, in the name of Rabbi Yossi Aglili, they say, Af ein koisvin olav gitei noshin. Even af, you cannot write on it a get for a wife. You can't write gittin on a live animal. And we'll talk about that a different time. That's the end of the Brisa, end quote. Says the Gemara, my time of Rameir. What we spoke about, the problem is you might be left without a sukkah, but what's the problem of an animal? Why would you be left without a sukkah by using an animal? What's going to happen? So it's a machlokes amiram, what's going to happen? Abaye says, Shema Thomas. It might die. That makes a lot of sense. An animal could die, I don't know. So you're not going to have a wall of a sukkah. That's why Rameir says you can't use it. Rabbi Zera says, Shema Tivrach. The animal might flee and run away. That makes even more sense. The animals don't usually stick around in one place. It's going to run away. You're going to be left without the wall of a sukkah, and your sukkah won't be kosher. Therefore, Rameir says, that is why it's puzzle. Machlokes amarim, exactly why. Is it because it might run away, or is it because it might die? The Gemara wants to dig deeper. Who cares? It might run away. It might die. They both mean the same thing. No. It's going to be a nafkamina, but the Gemara is going to dig deeper. Where's it come out a difference? Says the Gemara, bipil kosher, if it's a tied up elephant, okay, bipil is an elephant. If it's a tied up elephant, kulayama, the whole world, loy pligi would not argue. Nobody would argue, even Rameir wouldn't argue. Okay, this is like even the Chiddush. Forget about the Machlekes Abaya and Reb Zera. Even Rameir wouldn't even argue. They're arguing about what Rameir would say. But even here, Rameir would agree. Why? Dinami Mayas, for if also it would die, Yesh benivlase asara. Its corpse, its dead body still has 10 tefachim. You have a tied up elephant. What could go wrong? It can't run. It's tied up. And even if it dies, it's still massive. And therefore, you still have your 10 tefachim, which is the height you need for a sukkah. So even Rameir, nobody has a problem here. This can't be where Rameir was talking about, and it can't be where these Amorim are fighting about it. Key pligi, where do they argue? This is going to be the machlekes. The peel she'ene kosher. It's an elephant that's not tied up. Okay, why? Laman da Amar, according to the one who says Abaya, Shema Tamos, it might die. That was Abaya Shita. Loy chashina. There's nothing to be concerned about. What are you concerned about? It's an elephant. Even if it dies, it's still going to be 10 tvachim. So this is Rameir would not be concerned about such a sukkah. Laman da Amar Gzera Shema Tivrach, but according to the one who says a Gzera might run away, which is Reb Zera, chashina, we're nervous, we're concerned because the animal is not tied up, so even the elephant could run away. That is their machlekes about, and why it's important to know what Rameir's reason is. It makes a difference, because if it's an elephant that's not tied up, that will be machlekes. If Rameir would say the sukkah is puzzle or not. In fact, the Gemara, a very obvious question. Ask the Gemara. Ulamanda Amar Gzera Shemet Thomas. According to the one who says it's a Gzera that it might die, which is Abaya, Nechah Shemet Tivrach, you should be concerned as well that it might flee. If you're concerned that it's going to die, you're for sure concerned it might flee. So you have an elephant which is not tied up, so you're saying, I don't care if it dies, because I still have my Asar Tvachim. Guess what? There's a bigger chance of happening. The elephant just walking away, which is what Reb Zera had a problem with. So this does not make any sense that a buyer would say, here, we're good. Elephant not tied up, I'm good to go. Because if it dies, it's still 10 Tvachim. If it runs away, what do you mean? It might run away. So therefore, this does not make any sense. If a buyer holds Shema Tamus, he for sure holds Shema Tivrach. It's impossible. If you're nervous it might die, then it's going to flee. So we got to figure it out. Ella, here comes the Gemara with a flip. Ella means rather, this is what you have to say, and the Gemara changes it. Bipil, Ella, Bipil she'enei kosher, if it's an elephant that's not tied up, Kulayama, the whole world, likely would not argue that we're concerned it's going to run away. If you have an elephant that's not tied up, it's going to run away. It's going to walk away. Nobody would argue sukkah is not going to be good. Rameir for sure is going to say it's no good. Key pligi, where do they argue? Bibehema kashura. Bibehema means a regular, domesticated, smaller animal that's tied up. Here's the machlekes. This makes sense. Lamanda Amar Gzera Shema Thomas, according to the one who says that the problem is it might die, which is a baya, chashinan, we're nervous. Although the animal's tied up, it could die. And it's just a behema, let's say a sheep, whatever. So if the sheep dies, you're not going to have a sar tvachim. This is a real concern. Lamanda Amar Gzera Shema Tivrach, according to the one who holds a Gzera that it might run away, which is Reb Zera, Loi Chayshina, we're not concerned. Why? Because the animal is tied up. So we just found now where it makes a difference what the reason for a mayor is. If the reason is Shema Tivrach or Shema Tamas, what's the nafkamina? In a case we have a regular animal, behema, not big, that's tied up. Flee, it's not going to flee, but it might die. It might die, and then you don't have the size of a wall that you need for a sukkah. So the Gemara asks a question on this. Ulaman da Amar Gzera Shema, this is what we're up to, by the way. This is what we're up to. Ulaman da Amar Gzera Shema Tivrach, according to the one who says it's a Gzera that it might run away, which is Reb Zera, Necha Shema Tamas. Why isn't Reb Zera scared? He should also be concerned it might die. Right? Abaya holds Shema Tamas, and for sure he holds Shema Tivrach. Right? So why doesn't Reb Zera, who holds Shema Tivrach, it might run away, why doesn't he concern that it might die? See, when you have a regular animal that's tied up, he should be nervous it's going to die on Sukkot, and you won't have the height. The answer is so obvious, though. The more answers, Misa leishchicha, death is not doesn't usually happen. It's a chiddush that a Abaya is concerned about it. You don't have to ask me on Reb Zera, why aren't you nervous about it? Well, animal running away, that always happens. Everyone knows animals run away. Animals don't generally die within 7 days. So therefore, that's not such a question. But the Gemara has, and that's it, period. We have just figured out the machlekes, and we've answered everybody up, and we're good. We're good to go. The Gemara has a question on both of them. Okay, new question. Ask the Gemara, we're going to look at the picture. How could an animal be a good wall? V'ika revacha, the beini beini. V'ika, there is revacha space. Beini beini means between. Between the animal's legs, if you take a look at the pictures on page Lamed Gimel. Don't look at the picture too clearly because it's actually the Maskanas Gemara. But you know what? We'll learn the Gemara in the pictures first, okay? Because it brings down the Lashon Gemara. So the Gemara is it's page Lamed Gimel picture Mem Hey. The Gemara asks, "V'ikar ravacha the beini beini." Between the hind legs of the animal and the front legs of the animal, you have a major space. So that's not a good wall. You just have two legs and two legs. It's like a field goal, and you can kick it right through. But you don't have enough space, enough of a wall there to be a sukkah. So the Gemara answers. I'm reading in the caption. The avilei behutza the dafna. He made it, and if you look closely, you can't really tell initially. Look at the picture closely. There's actually branches in between the legs. You see that? It's actually good, the picture. Initially, when you read the question, you don't see it. You look closely. It's not one of those pictures you have to look, stare at it for a while and then put your head back. But you look at it again, and you see the hutza. What are hutza v'dafna? Hutza are palm branches, and dafna, I don't even know what that means. It's some sort of. It's like it's branches of a certain type of tree called the dafna tree. I don't know what it is.
They're not strong enough to stay.
You can put them on the floor. You put them. You tie them. You tie them down. They're good. It's fine. Yeah, it's fine. So the Gemara says you put hutza v'dafna. So really, you covered in the breach. But what?
You need the animal.
Oh, what do you need the animal for? You don't have too much hutza v'dafna. You have a few branches in your backyard. So you just spread in between the legs, but not enough to cover 10 tefachim. It's a lot more. So he puts a little hutza v'dafna in between the legs, some branches, and you got yourself a wall. But the Gemara has another kasha, reading the caption further. Vidilma rava. Let's say the animal squats, right? Everyone's so busy, it might run, it might die. Okay, so it's tied up, and we're talking about an animal that it's a behemoth, but what about the problem that it might squat? This is a question on everybody. How's it ever going to be good? Everyone said it's passing it for other reasons. What about the animal just squatting? What's the case here? So the Gemara says, "The mesicha ba'ashlei mila'el." The mesicha means it's held up ba'ashlei with ropes mila'el above. You look at the picture now. Now you see everything in the picture. You got the animal, you got the hutza v'dafna, and you have the ropes around the animal's body lifting it up. You see it? I'm not making this up. It's in the picture. You can't make this stuff up, by the way. It's a real case. So now I'm going to jump back to the Gemara inside. Again, there's a question on both mandamers, whichever way you learn Rameir, this is going to be a question. The Gemara asks, how is an animal a wall b'chlal? Forget about it, it's alive. How's it a wall? V'ika revacha the beini beini. You have a space between its legs. That's a question. The Gemara answers, the avidlei b'hutza v'dafna. He made it with branches of palm trees and dafna, branches of some other tree called, like Ari said, dafna. I guess maybe that's where God's name from. Is that where God's name from? I don't know.
So it can't even die, even if it dies, it's not going anywhere.
Even if it dies, there's only a little bit of hutza v'dafna there.
No, but
You can't, if you're tied down
if you're holding it up.
Oh, it can't even run away. The Gemara's going to ask your question. Very good. One more second. Fact the Gemara, the Dilmarava. Maybe the animal is going to squat, right? Animals get a little tired and they start squatting, and then all of a sudden you're lower than 10 tefachim. So that's also a concern. The Gemara answers, the mesicha ba'ashli mil'il. It's being suspended, being held up with ropes from above. So therefore, you don't have these concerns and you have your good wall. Frek the Gemara, and this is what Kivi just asked. Ulamad Amar Gzera Shema Thomas Nami. According to the one who says the Gzera is because it might die, which is Abaya, Nami also, what's the problem here? Hamasicha ba'ashli mil'el is being held up with ropes from above. How's it ever a concern? This case that we found you, a behema, an animal that is tied up, where you don't have Reb Zera's concern, but you have a bayit, right? That was the difference of them. According to this man, Shema Thomas, it should be fine because the animal is being held up in general. it can't fall down, it can't die and collapse. So why, according to Bai, is this a problem? Why is this case going to be a problem by a behema keshura, an animal that's tied up?
We're not worried about the smell of the animal. Like,
It's a good question in general. I don't know the answer to that.
it's not, you know, how do you feel their smell?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, you're right. It sounds like it should be a problem. It says even if it dies, which is going to smell. For some reason they're not bothered by that. Could be it's theoretical, so it's like learning in more in that sugi. You're right. The animal smells, but more like in concept. There are different issues. I think, and no one's going to have an animal in general, probably. So that's the Gemara's question. So the Gemara says, Zimnin. There are times, demoikimla, that you're going to stand up an animal there. B'pachas mishloisha samach l'schach. Back to love it here, guys. The animal might not be 10 tfachim tall. It might be 7 tfachim and a bit, which is, you have the schach, which is 10 tfachim high, let's say, and the animal is 7 tfachim and a bit, a mashu. So you just made it. And what are we nervous about? Turn the page. The kivin demaisa, once it dies, kapsa, it's going to shrivel. The lav adaitain is not on his mind. He's not even going to chap that the animal just shrunk a little bit, got lessened because it died. And it might go from 7 in a mashu to under 7. And you don't have love it. Means the guy looks at the sukkah, he says, I got my animal here, it's tied up, it even has the cords, right? This is perfect. This is not a problem. Yeah, but it might die, but it's being held up. So what's the issue of Gzer Shematamas? There is a problem. Because if the animal dies, it's going to get a little smaller, even though it's being held up, and you just went from your 7 in a mashu tvachim, which is fine for a wall, to just lower than 7, and now you are out of loved range. You don't have your wall for a sukkah. Therefore, it's going to be a problem for him as well to have this animal because of the Gzer Shematamas, even though it's being suspended. So Nachama, the Gemara asked a new question on this, both guys, both people. Where's your wall here? You have the space between the feet. Gemara says, no, you put hutz of adafna in there. There's branches to cover up the wall. Okay, but different issue, it might squat. Squatting, it's not going to squat because the animal is being suspended by bungee cords. So the Gemara asks, whoa, it's being suspended by bungee cords. So then there's a problem here. What's a buy-in nervous going to die? It's being held up. So the whole gzera doesn't make any sense anymore. The answer is, dying, you don't realize there are some times where it's being held up by a little bit, and if it dies, it shrinks. The animal does, when the animal's alive, it's more lively, right? When it dies, it's like more deadly. It's still there. It could lose a few inch or so, whatever, less than an inch, and boom, you just lost your wall, and therefore the sukkah is not going to be good.
Is Misa still a shlicha when he's being held up by bungee cords?
No, Abai holds Misa is enough of a concern. The Gemara is going to ask in the coming Gemara this idea of is Abai really concerned for Misa and discuss these far-fetched chashas, but Abai is concerned animal's going to die, even with the bungee cords and with everything. It might not make it.
They added the 10 already there. And
Yeah.
not kosher, the 7.5 in it.
Yeah, we're not chayshish that much. So in the one time that you used an animal, there's just 7 in the mashu, that is the concern. Shema Thomas. Stop over here.